Yes, it has been a while, actually. Let's answer some questions. First, of course, for those of you who saw the video yesterday, Makerspace is going great. I'm actually, as soon as I get done uploading this video, I'm going to be heading down to unload another trailer load of stuff and then do some errands. And then I'll be headed down to meet with Out of Darts for our trip to Minnesota for Project My Neighborhood's event. Of course, next month I've got West vs. Zombies and End War, so that's gonna be fun. Let's get to the questions. Nathan Talesian, have you seen Team 4 Star's Hellsing Abridged? Yes, I have, and it's fantastic. And I can't say any of my favorite quotes on YouTube. And have you seen the 3D printing pens? I have. They look neat. I don't know how useful they would be in Nerf, but I'm tempted to get one just to try it for like really simple stuff. Antonio Bessel, have you tried the MTB Neo Rhino 3S motors? I have not. I haven't had any reason to need something that was that powerful since Luke already sent me a bunch of Krakens, so I don't know how different the specs are, but I can't imagine they're different enough for me to care. But for those who are really into high-tuned flywheel blasters, it might be something you want to look into. Void Walker, what schooling did you go through and how has it helped you in your life so far? So I have a bachelor's degree in computer science, and while I've never actually had what you would really call a programming job, a software engineer job, it is the reason that I've gotten to where I am today. That and the leadership experience that I had through Medieval Recreation and all of that was why I got the tech lead position over the other candidate, and then having that degree is also what kind of qualified me for the position I have now, which is amazing and cushy, and I love it. So, I haven't really used the programming much. It's one of those things I really want to get into programming Arduinos and stuff to be able to do some really more interesting Nerf blasters and some projects there, but I haven't gotten into that yet. I have no formal training as far as electronics. I don't have any electrical engineering experience. I've got very little actual mechanical engineering. I didn't even take shop in high school, so most of it's all self-taught or from watching videos on YouTube. So, now, Whitechapel 88. Do you have the Lanard's Big Salvo, and if so, will you make a video on it? I do. I acquired one from the Nerf Curator a while back. I lost it then. It was somewhere in the shop, and I found it while packing. So, eventually I will do something with it, and I will make a video on it. Laser Ray 1. A D&D choice for you. Would you run a Drunken Dwarven Berserker or a Dwarven Drunken Master? I tried to find the stats on the Drunken Dwarven Master as far as the character build stats, and I couldn't find anything. But I did look up Drunken Master, and I think it actually would be a really fun race for a dwarf to play. But to play it more as a brawler and less as a kung fu type monk, I think that could be a lot of fun with this dwarf that just gets drunk and wrecks everything. I think that could be interesting. The Executive. Do you watch Shadiversity? I do not. No. Afro Sergeant. Captain. If designing a shell-fed, shell-ejecting Nerf shotgun, what, in your opinion, would be better? A low-capacity detachable box magazines or high-capacity fixed drum that can be topped off as you go? That is a tough one. Something I really, really wanted Nerf to come out with was a drum-fed, shell-ejecting, basically like a Roto Fury, but taking sledge fire shells. It wouldn't have been that hard, I don't think, and it would have been really, really cool. And then we could have come up with, different shells that could go in it to fire, a shell that fires mega and stuff like that. So I really like that idea because I already really wanted that. But a magazine-fed one would also be cool because then you could have different magazines that have different ammo types in them. The idea of having one that you top off would allow you to switch, just put in different shells that are going to be the next one or the next two or whatever in line. That's a really tough one. It would not be easy to be able to make it do both. I don't see that as being really feasible. I can see you just making a drum that could go in the same way that the regular magazines do, but I don't see that as being easily topped off. I would go with the drum, honestly. I think I would go with the drum for that particular style. Well, Marvel Prime Masters 66, which is his YouTube channel, by the way. Give him a look. Captain, who do you think would win in an epic movie battle, Marvel or DC? Well, if you're talking about like box office, Marvel's blowing DC completely out of the water. Though DC is finally starting to rally at least a little bit. Their last couple of movies have been pretty good, or at least I enjoyed them. If you want to know who would win in a fight between the characters, that debate's been raging for 50 years. And again, DC is way behind. They don't have nearly as many characters. So, I mean, if you just picked one-on-one, they're going to balance out. Because you're going to pick, Thor to go up against Superman and, on down the line, you'll just pick somebody that matches Batman versus Iron Man or whatever, however you decide to pair them up. And you could bicker for hours over who's the more powerful. Because we don't actually have any hard science behind it. How many newtons of force does Superman's punch have in the cinematic universe compared to whatever's canon in the comic books? And I don't enjoy that kind of comparison. It's like Star Wars versus Star Trek. I enjoy them both, and I don't feel any need to try to compare them to prove that one's better than the other. But CTBG Polar Flare 913. Follow up from my last question. You watch Dragon Ball Abridged? Yes, and I love it. And again, most of my favorite quotes I can't say on YouTube. It's not for children. Liam Sweet, have you watched Cowboy Bebop? I think I watched an episode of it, but it didn't grab me. Ha 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 ha! My camera mount is now wobbly, so that'll take a bit to stabilize. John B35. Have you seen the Hacksmith's Iron Man helmet? I have not. Send me a link. Mr. Y Song 1. If a fan was to make and send a LARP melee weapon, what would you like them to make? Ooh. I've always wanted a chainsword, like a big two-handed chainsword. Or a smaller one-handed chainsword. Or an officer's sword from 40K. That would be pretty cool. Or just a very functional, like, K-bar type, but, obnoxiously large for Nerf purposes. Yeah. Something functional. Something not overly ostentatious. Something that would be easy to make a sheath for, or easy to slide into a pouch or something. Though chainswords are obnoxious and magnificent, and I would love one of those. Logan Tunkel. Have you tried Saronic root beer? I have not. Never even heard of it. Grungar von Draken. That is an awesome name. What is your opinion on attaching charms or other dongles to the grips of pistols? I wouldn't do it. It's just another thing to get caught or tangled or what have you. Though a really subtle one would work. You mentioned the books. The books would get ruined if I attached them to something like that. It would need to be something very, very durable. And not too long so it doesn't get wrapped around stuff or caught on web gear or what have you. But I don't have anything against them as a concept. Monkey Man 0490. What kind of mod potential do you think the Titan has? Well, it's a flywheel blaster, so it has all the potential of any flywheel blaster, and it's probably a belt-fed design like the Hyperfire or the Regulator or anything like that, which makes it good high rate of fire, simple to mod, much easier wiring than a 3-switch rapid strike. Does have a long barrel, but that's kind of what's cool about it. I definitely want to, like I said, make one of them into a rifle, put a stock and a grip on it, just because I think it would look silly and ridiculous, and people keep talking about them, and I like that idea. And then to keep one regular, just because I really like that style of blaster, and obviously why I built Tier that way. So, Sidewinder Llama. Who are your favorite modders in terms of performance, visual, and internal mods? And are there any mod techniques that you aren't able to do that you really want to learn? Visually, my favorites are probably Mr. Nathan, obviously, and Valor. Their work is absolutely gorgeous, and I'd love to get on that level someday. Internally, there isn't really anyone who's out there just doing stuff that's just absolutely amazing, or at least that I have seen. I'm sure there are people doing absolutely just incredible stuff that is above anything that anyone else is doing, but since I have no real need for performance mods that are on that end of the scale, I don't really look into them that much. I can appreciate the engineering behind it. But other than that, I mean, looking at things like the FDL and some of Coat Duck's work as far as the lighting and stuff that she does, it's just gorgeous. And the programming that goes into their stuff. I do want to learn, as I mentioned earlier, to program Arduino so I can do that sort of thing. Select fire stuff and various other things that you can do with that. There's also a lot of cosmetic stuff that I've never dabbled in. It's like the shell work that you see some people can do, especially like Mr. Nathan and those where they're so clean you can't even see the seams even when you're looking at them from the inside. I'd like to get to that level at some point, and I'm nowhere near it yet. Because one of the things I do want to get into in the future is cosplay. I really want to do professional level cosplay, and I'd like to be able to do functional cosplay blasters, and so I'm going to need to get a lot better at the cosmetics and how to do things out of Warbler and foam and the shaping and all of that so I can get them to look right and be functional. So, yeah, that's kind of where I want to go with that. Andrew Keys, candy eating video part 2, please? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. There will be another candy eating video in the Makerspace when I get it and we have the big hurrah and party. There'll be pizza and we will sit around and eat candies and make ourselves sick. Harkon Gao. I have no idea how to pronounce those letters. I've never even seen some of those letters before. What do you think about Vikings and their style? Well, they were an interesting part of history. It's obviously there's not a single this is what a Viking is like, because there were a lot of, the Danish and the Swedish and the Norwegian and the Finns and all of those lot up in there, and they were all slightly different, but the general aesthetic I like. Long ships are, of course, a marvel of engineering for their time. Some of their steel was very, very good, though supposedly a lot of that was imported, but that tells you how widespread their trade network was, that they were actually getting steel possibly imported as far south as Damascus. That's how far the Vikings' trade routes went. I mean, they went all the way to Constantinople, which is a long way from Scandinavia. And I like round shield style combat. There's a lot that you can do with that. Most people and most movies, even Vikings, never, I think, really truly got into how complex of a martial art they would have had, because they were, mostly they were farmers, but they also very much went to war, and they always show the shield wall stuff, which is very, very cool. But I didn't feel they ever really showed a lot of the dueling techniques very well. And I didn't watch the entire show, but I watched a couple of I think I watched most of the first season. And there's a huge style of martial arts that comes around how to properly use a round shield and how to move with it and how to actively block with it and how to attack your opponent's shield that I didn't think ever really showed particularly well in any of the Hollywood stuff, because it's not what you're expecting of just big guys bashing on shields repeatedly, because that doesn't do any good. So I would love to see more on their martial arts style, especially in popular entertainment, because it is such a really cool thing to see. And finally, Dustin Bagan, with the Makerspace moving forward, is your fan mail address going to change? Yes, obviously. I'm moving a little over an hour and a half south of where I am now. There is a post office in the town, and hopefully I can get a P.O. box, because I don't want to just post my home address on to the world. Obviously, it's going to get out because I'm going to be using the Makerspace, and it is on the property. But the mailing address, I will probably still try to get a P.O. box, even if I just end up having it forwarded directly to my house, because I don't know. It's a small town. It's a really small town. So we'll see. But I definitely, when I have the address updated, when I finally transition to there permanently, I will have to go through all of my videos, and I have hundreds of videos, and update the descriptions on all of them. That's going to be brutal. Oh, barely nicked it. Okay, I have have but the one package this time, which is handy because it means I don't have to move a whole lot more stuff. And finally getting this place not just cleaned up, gutted. The place is empty. You can't see it, but half the shelves are gone. The other half of the shelves are empty. So, all right, I have one package here, and I'm just going to go ahead and open it. It appears to be a book. Awesome. I love books. Give me the book. Give it to me. Boss. This pet guy. I'm in the dark. There appears to be a note. Terry McCarthy has sent me this book, and it is The Sword of Hannibal. 10 unlikely adventurers challenge a mighty empire for vengeance, honor, and a miraculous blade. (218 BC), Imperial Rome and mighty Carthage are on the verge of a final devastating battle for control of Europe. In their midst, one lone fighter battles against impossible odds. Strabo is sworn to no one. He knows no justice except his sword. Now, the rootless mercenary has joined the Asturians, a band of tribesmen from what will one day be called Spain. Their offer: infiltrate Hannibal's army, poised to invade Rome through the Alps, and rescue their kidnapped kinsmen from slavery. The reward: treasure beyond reckoning. Strabo is ready for Carthage's ferocious thousand strong army and Hannibal's elite guard. The attack that will take him by surprise will be on his own warrior-hardened heart. Amid the savage chaos of combat, this soldier of fortune must choose between gold and two things he has never felt before: loyalty and love. That sounds fabulous. I'm actually a really big fan of historical fiction, particularly... Oh, that was the... Who sent me this? Terry McCarthy is the author. Josh Wesley. Josh Wesley has made this, and he is awesome. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of historical fiction, particularly like Bernard Cornwell's books. So this should be a really good read. I look forward to reading this. When Western civilization was still young, every nation, city-state, and tribe was dominated by two superpowers, Carthage and Rome. The two military behemoths squared off, and the bloody struggle raged for years across the Mediterranean. Sweet. All right. Well, I am now going to head down to my new place and unload my trailer, and then unhook my trailer, and then do a bunch of errands, get the power, sewage, and water all moved over to my name. And then I'm going to be meeting with contractors for hopefully to look over the things that I want remodeled and renovated, and then we might actually even start on some of the demolition of that. And then after that, I'm going to be headed down to Out of Darts' place, where I'm going to be spending the night, and then we are going to be flying out tomorrow together to go to Minnesota. So that is the plan. I will try to get video footage of as much as I can. We've established I'm lousy at filming events, but I'm going to get better. Someday. All right. Thank you for watching.